ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Steps in respiration of human. What are the sequential steps which may be appears in respiration of a healthy person? What are the sequential steps means? First step is external respiration or ventilation or breathing is the first step. Second step, exchange of respiratory gases at lungs or alveoli. Third step is the transport of gases, transport of the respiratory gases exchange of respiratory gases at tissue. This is also called as the systemic exchange. This is also called as pulmonary exchange. Definitely exchange of the respiratory gases at lung is said to be as the pulmonary exchange. Exchange of the respiratory gases at tissue is also called as the systemic exchange. Fifth step is the internal respiration or cellular respiration. Internal respiration or the cellular respiration is the fifth step. Sequential steps which may be appears in the case of the respiration of a person. First step is external respiration or the ventilation or the breathing. Second one is the exchange of the respiratory gases at lung or in alveoli, that is the pulmonary exchange. Third one is the transport of respiratory gases. Fourth one is the exchange of the respiratory gases at tissue, that is the systemic exchange. Fifth one is the internal respiration or the cellular respiration. Then what is the ventilation or the breathing? What is the ventilation or the breathing means? Definitely inspiration. Inspiration plus expiration together called as the ventilation or external respiration or the breathing. Means atmospheric air have to be reaches to the lung, that is said to be as the inspiration. Intake of atmospheric air into the lung is said to be as the inspiration, and delivering of air from the lung to the out, release of the air from the lung to the out is said to be as the expiration. This inspiration and expiration together called as the breathing or ventilation or external respiration. Means here Exchange of the O2 and CO2 is taken place between the lung and atmosphere. Atmospheric oxygen reaches to the lung. CO2 which is present in the lung is delivered into the atmosphere. That is said to be as the external respiration or ventilation or the breathing. That is the first step. In the first step, that is the ventilation, atmospheric oxygen reaches into the lung, that is the inspiration. CO2 which is present in the lung is delivered to the out into the atmosphere, that is said to be as the expiration. These two steps together constitute the ventilation. Second step is the pulmonary exchange. Means whenever the atmospheric oxygen is reaches to the alveoli, from the alveoli oxygen is reaches into the blood. Again in blood, whatever the CO2 which is present, that is reaches into the alveoli. Means at the lung or at alveoli, exchange of O2 and CO2 is taken place between the alveoli and the blood. That is said to be as the pulmonary exchange. Specifically near the lung, from the alveoli, oxygen is diffuses into the blood. CO2 which is present in the blood is diffuses into alveoli. That is said to be as the pulmonary exchange or exchange of the respiratory gases at lung. Exchange of the respiratory gases at lung. Third one is that O2 which is reaches into the lung near the O2 which is reaches into the blood near the lung. That kind of the O2 have to be transported towards the tissue. In the tissue, whatever the CO2 which is gets produces, that have to be reaches to the lung. Definitely, during the inspiration, whatever the O2 which is reaches into the lung, that O2 is reaches to the blood. Through the blood, that O2 have to be reaches to the tissue. In the tissue, whatever the CO2 which is gets produces, that have to be transported towards the lung for its expulsion. This O2 transport towards the tissue from the lung, CO2 transport from the tissue towards the lung is said to be as the transport of gases. Transport of respiratory gases means through the blood, oxygen from the lung is carried towards the tissue. Again, CO2 from the tissue is carried towards the lung. That is said to be as the transport of respiratory gases. Fourth step is the systemic exchange, means near the tissue, this is the systemic artery, this is the tissue, this is the cell, that is the tissue. Near the tissue, oxygen which is present in the systemic artery is reaches into the cell. Again in cell, whatever the CO2 which is present, that is reaches into the systemic artery. Definitely near the tissue, oxygen from the systemic artery, if it is diffuses into cell, and from the cell CO2 is reaches into the systemic artery. That is said to be as the systemic exchange. That is said to be as the exchange of the respiratory gases at tissue. Near the tissue, between the systemic artery and tissue, O2 and CO2, if they are exchanges, then that is said to be as the systemic exchange or the exchange of the respiratory gases at tissue. After entering of the O2 into the cell, after diffusing the oxygen into the cell, definitely inside of the cell, that oxygen is useful for the oxidation. By that way, finally energy gets releases. that is said to be as the internal respiration or the cellular respiration. The final step, which is useful for the delivering of the energy into the cell by oxidation, is said to be as the internal respiration or the cellular respiration. Means after getting the entering of oxygen into the cell, that oxygen principally useful for the oxidation of the food material. By that way energy gets releases. That energy is later useful for the cell for growth or for the repair or for the regeneration. That is said to be as the internal respiration or the cellular respiration. Very important neat objective question is that what are the sequential steps in the respiration of the healthy person? What are the sequence or sequential steps in the respiration of the healthy person? Means first step is external respiration or the ventilation or the breathing. Second step is exchange of the respiratory gases at lung, that is nothing but pulmonary exchange. Third step is the transport of respiratory gases. Fourth step is the exchange of the respiratory gases at tissue, that is the systemic exchange. Fifth step, that is the final step, is the internal respiration or the cellular respiration. Here in another way also the question may be asked like this: what is the last but one step in respiration of a human? Which of the following is last but one step in the sequential steps of a respiration of the human? Means this is the last step, last but one means this is the last but one, that is the systemic exchange. Last but one step in the sequential steps of respiration of the human, nothing but exchange of the respiratory gases. Last step is nothing but internal respiration, that is the cellular respiration. Of this, the first step is the external respiration or ventilation or breathing. Then what is the mechanism of breathing? What is the mechanism of breathing? Before going to the mechanism of the breathing or mechanism of ventilation or external respiration, at first you have to know what is the pressure gradient and what is the partial pressure. Pressure gradient nothing but pressure difference. Pressure difference between the lung and atmosphere must be take part in inspiration and expiration. Definitely, for entering of the atmospheric air into the lung, inside of the lung, pressure must be decreases than the atmospheric air. Whenever inside of the lung pressure is less than atmospheric air, then only atmospheric air is reaches into the lung very freely. Otherwise, atmospheric air may not be reaches into the lung, inspiration may not be taken place. So that only for occurring of the inspiration, inside of the lung pressure must be decreases than the pressure must be less than the atmospheric air. So the pressure which is present in the lung is said to be as the intrapulmonary pressure. Intrapulmonary pressure. Pressure which is present in the lung is said to be as the intrapulmonary pressure. Intra means inside. Pulmonary means lung. Inside of the lung, whatever the pressure which is present, that is said to be as the intrapulmonary pressure. Whenever intrapulmonary pressure becomes less than atmospheric pressure, then only atmospheric air is reaches into the lung very freely. whenever the intrapulmonary pressure is becomes negative than atmospheric air, then only atmospheric air is gets reaches into the lung very freely, because always atmospheric gases are gets processed from higher pressured area to lower pressured area, from higher pressured area to lower pressured area. This atmospheric gases are gets move or gets travel. So that only for occurring of the inspiration in the breathing, this intrapulmonary pressure must be becomes less than atmospheric pressure. Again for expiration, for occurring of the expiration, definitely intrapulmonary pressure have to becomes greater than external atmospheric pressure, then only it is possible to expel air which is present in the lung to the out. Definitely for expulsion, for expiration very easily, intrapulmonary pressure have to becomes greater than, how to becomes positive than atmospheric pressure, then only air from the lung is gets expelled to the out. Means pressure gradient means pressure difference have to be created between the pressure of lung to the atmospheric pressure, then only it is possible for getting the inspiration and expiration very easily. Second, partial pressure. Partial pressure means the pressure which is exerted by a single gas, the pressure which is exerted by a single gas among the mixture of atmospheric gases is said to be as the partial pressure. For example, all the gases which are present in the atmosphere totally contribute again 1 millibar, that is the 159 mmHg is the PO2, partial pressure of oxygen. Definitely atmospheric pressure is about 760 mmHg. 760 mmHg is the atmospheric pressure, means all the atmospheric gases together constitute 760 mmHg atmospheric pressure. Of this 760 mmHg, how much pressure independently or individually contributed by the oxygen is nothing but partial pressure of oxygen, that is nothing but 159 mmHg. Means out of 760 mmHg, 159 mmHg pressure is gets contributed by the oxygen independently, that is said to be as the partial pressure of oxygen. That partial pressure is represented by PO2. Partial pressure of oxygen can be represented as the PO2, that is approximately 159 mmHg. Means here I want to repeat once again, totally the mixture of gases which are present in the atmosphere together contribute 760 mmHg pressure, that is the atmospheric pressure. Out of that, how much pressure is contributed by oxygen alone? How much amount of the pressure is contributed by oxygen independently? Means 159 mmHg pressure is contributed by the oxygen. So that is said to be as the partial pressure of oxygen, that is represented in the form of the PO2, that is 159 mmHg. Similarly, 0.3 mmHg partial pressure, 0.3 mmHg pressure is contributed by the CO2. So that only that is said to be as the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, that is represented in the form of the PCO2. Means out of 760 mmHg atmospheric pressure, CO2 can contribute only 0.3 mmHg pressure, that is said to be as the partial pressure of the carbon dioxide, that is represented in the form of the PCO2. Again, always O2 and CO2s also diffuses from their higher partial pressure area to lower partial pressure area only. From the higher partial pressure area to lower partial pressure area, O2 and CO2 maybe gets diffuses, means during the inspiration from the atmosphere CO2 gets diffuses into the lung, because in atmosphere PO2 is approximately 159 mmHg, but in the case of the lung that is only 104 mmHg only. So that only this respiratory gases also can be gets passes from the higher partial pressure area to lower partial pressure area. Again, definitely just before going to the ventilation, just before going to the breathing, at first we have to know what are the muscle which may be useful to create the pressure gradient between the lung and atmosphere for inspiration and expiration more effectively. What kind of the muscles which may be helpful to us for creation of the pressure difference between the lung and atmosphere, for altering of the thoracic cavity volume, for altering of the change of the lung volume, for creation of the pressure gradient between the lung and atmosphere, means one is the diaphragmic muscle, one is the diaphragmic muscle, this is also called as the phrenic muscle. Second type of the muscles are intercostal muscles. Second type of the muscles are intercostal muscle. Definitely for inspiration and expiration, for occurring of the, for creation of the pressure gradient between the lungs and atmosphere, two types of the muscles principally take part. One is the diaphragmic muscles or the phrenic muscle. By this involvement of the phrenic muscles or the diaphragmic muscle, about 70% of the ventilation gets occurs. For completion of the 70% of the ventilation, this diaphragmic muscles take part. Diaphragmic muscles play a greater role. Again, intercostal muscles means the muscle which is present between the two rib, muscles which are present among the rib, that kind of the muscles are said to be as the intercostal muscle. Muscles which are present between the two rib or muscles which are present among the ribs is said to be as the intercostal muscle. Again, they are of two types. One is the internal intercostal muscles. Second one is the external intercostal muscles. Internal intercostal muscle. Second one is the external intercostal muscles. Definitely this kind of the intercostal muscles are of two types. If the muscles are present inside of the rib, muscles are present on inner surface of the ribs, that is said to be as the internal intercostal muscle. Otherwise, if muscles are present to the outside of the rib, that is said to be as the external intercostal muscle. Muscles, if they are present to the inner side of the ribs, that is said to be as the internal intercostal muscle. Muscles, if they are present to the outside of the rib, they are said to be as the external intercostal muscle. Definitely diaphragmic muscles or the phrenic muscles are voluntary muscles These are the voluntary muscle. These are the skeletal muscles or striated muscles. Definitely diaphragmatic muscles or phrenic muscles are voluntary muscle, or the skeletal muscle or the striated muscle, because they may be works with the conscious of a person for few seconds. They works with the conscious of a person for few seconds. So that only that is said to be as the voluntary muscles or the skeletal muscles or the striated muscle. Next, what is the mechanism of breathing? What is the mechanism of breathing or ventilation? Mechanism of breathing or ventilation. In mechanism of breathing, sound వస్తుంది. In mechanism of breathing, two principal steps are present. One is the inspiration, second one is the expiration. Definitely in the mechanism of breathing, first step is the inspiration, second step is the expiration. Then what is the inspiration means? Intake of the air into the lung from the atmosphere is said to be as the inspiration. Intake of the air from the atmosphere into the lung is said to be as the inspiration. Then for that kind of the inspiration, what kind of the muscles take part, how that kind of the inspiration is taken place means, at first diaphragmatic muscle, just assume this is the lung here, these are the lungs, this is the diaphragm. At first diaphragm is becomes flat due to the contraction of the diaphragmatic muscle. At first diaphragmatic muscles are gets contracted. Diaphragmatic muscles are gets contracted. By that way, dome shaped diaphragm is becomes flat. Whenever this kind of the diaphragmatic muscles are gets contracted, whenever the diaphragm is pulled down, whenever the diaphragm is becomes flat, definitely thoracic cavity volume is increases from anterior to posterior. From anterior to posterior, thoracic cavity volume is gets increases. At the same time, external intercostal muscle. External intercostal muscle means muscles which are present on outer surface of the rib, they also gets contracted. Whenever external intercostal muscles are gets contracted, these ribs are pulled out. Due to the contraction of external intercostal muscle, these ribs are pulled out. By that way, sternum is pushed to the forward, vertebral column is pushed to the back. Whenever the sternum is pushed to the forward, vertebral column is pushed to the back, automatically thoracic cavity volume is gets increases from dorsal to ventral. Whenever the thoracic cavity volume is increases from dorsal to ventral, in this particular case, whenever in all directions thoracic cavity volume is increases, automatically pressure which is applied over the lung is gets decreases. Pressure which is applied over the lung is gets decreases. By that way, lungs are gets extended. Lungs are relaxed. Whenever the lungs are gets relaxed, pressure which is present in the lung is gets decreases than atmospheric air. Definitely, whenever this diaphragm is becomes so flat due to the contraction of the diaphragmatic muscle, thoracic cavity volume is increases from anterior to posterior. Whenever external intercostal muscles are gets contracted, this ribs are pulled to the out. Whenever these muscles are gets contracted, external intercostal muscles are contracted, ribs are pulled to the out. By that way, sternum is pushed to the forward, vertebral column is pulled to the back. By that way, thoracic volume is increases from dorsal to ventral. By that way, in all directions, whenever the thoracic cavity volume is gets increases, pressure which is applied over the lung is gets decreases. By that way, lungs are becomes relaxed, lungs are extended. By that way, pressure inside of the lung is decreases than atmospheric pressure. Means this pressure which is present in the lung is decreases up to 758 mmHg only. Due to the relaxation of lung, due to the recoiling of lung, due to the extension of lung, definitely pressure inside of the lung is decreases to 758 mmHg. That is less than atmospheric pressure. In atmosphere, definitely 760 mmHg pressure is present. Definitely 758 mmHg pressure is a negative pressure than the atmospheric pressure, that is the 760 mmHg. As a result of this, atmospheric air is very freely reaches to the lung. So during the inspiration, diaphragmatic muscles are gets contracted, external intercostal muscles are gets contracted. For contraction of this muscle, energy must be required, so that only inspiration is said to be as the active process. Definitely in inspiration, once again I want to repeat it, external intercostal muscles are contracted. Definitely external intercostal muscles are present to the outside of the rib and below to the body wall. Below to the body wall means they attaches to the inner surface of the body wall also. Whenever these muscles are gets contracted, ribs are pulled to the out, ribs are pulled to the out. Due to that ribs, this sternum is pushed to the forward, vertebral column is pushed to the back. By that way, thoracic volume is increases from dorsal to ventral. At the same time, whenever the diaphragmatic muscles are gets contracted, dome shaped diaphragm is becomes a flat. By that way, anterior to posterior thoracic volume is increases. By that way, in all directions thoracic volume is increases. By that way, pressure which is applied over the lung is gets decreases. By that way, lungs are becomes free and they may be enlarged. By that way, inside of the lung intrapulmonary pressure is decreases to 758 mmHg. By that way, atmospheric air is very freely reaches to the lung, because in atmosphere 760 mmHg pressure is present. So that only from atmosphere, this atmospheric gases is very freely reaches to the lung. That is said to be as the inspiration. For inspiration, muscle contraction must be required. For muscle contraction, energy must be required. So that only this inspiration is said to be as the active process. Either normal inspiration or forced inspiration, if we want to forcefully inspire the air, for that also definitely muscle contraction must be required. For normal inspiration, for forced inspiration, for both of them also, this muscle contraction must be required. So that only forced inspiration, normal inspiration, both of them are the active process. Second, expiration. Expiration is a complete opposite to the inspiration. Expiration is completely opposite to the inspiration. Means at first diaphragmic muscles are gets contracted. Diaphragmic muscles are at first gets relaxed. In expiration, diaphragmic muscles are at first gets relaxed. By that way, this diaphragm is again reaches to its original shape, that is the dome shape. Definitely during the inspiration, due to the contraction of the diaphragmic muscle, this diaphragm becomes flat, but during the expiration, at first diaphragmic muscles are gets relaxed. By that way, this flattened diaphragm is gradually gets its original shape, that is the dome shape. By that way, thoracic volume is gradually decreases from posterior to anterior. Whenever the diaphragm is gradually becomes a dome shape from flat, this thoracic volume is gets decreases from posterior to anterior. Later, external intercostal muscles also gets relaxes. As a result of this ribs are gets moves towards their original position. By that way, sternum also reaches to its original position. Vertebral column is also moves towards its original position. In all directions, this leads to decreased thoracic volume. By that way, this pressure which is applied over the lung gets increases. By that way, lungs are gets constricted. Whenever the external intercostal muscles are gets relaxes, definitely this ribs are gets moves towards their original position. By that way, sternum is also moves back towards its original position. Vertebral column is also moves to its original position. By that way, in all directions, this thoracic volume is gets decreases. By that way, pressure over the lung which is applied is gets increases. By that way, lungs are gets contracted. By that way, volume which is present in the lung is gets decreases. By that way, pressure inside of the lung is raises to 762 mmHg. Due to the decreased thoracic volume, pressure which is applied over the lung is greatly increases. By that way, intrapulmonary pressure is raises to 762 mmHg, that is greater than atmospheric pressure. By that way, this respiratory gas which is present or air which is present in the lung is gets expelled to the out. That is said to be as the expiration. Means whenever the pressure inside of the lung is raises to 762 mmHg, that is greater than atmospheric pressure, air which is present in the lung is expelled to the out. That is said to be as the expiration. Definitely, expiration is occurs due to the relaxation of the muscle. Due to the relaxation of the diaphragmic muscle, due to the relaxation of the external intercostal muscle, this expiration is going on. So that only this expiration is said to be as the passive process. This is said to be as the passive process because for muscle relaxation, energy is not required. For muscle relaxation, energy is not required. Definitely for muscle contraction only energy is required. But during the expiration, diaphragmic muscles are gets relaxes. For that energy is not required. External intercostal muscles also gets relaxes. For that energy is not required. So that only normal expiration is said to be as the passive process. But if we want to forcefully expire, If I wanted to forcefully expire the air, during that or for that purpose, internal intercostal muscle, abdominal muscles must be contracted. For forceful expiration, definitely internal intercostal muscles and abdominal muscles must be contracted. So that only forceful expiration is active process, normal expiration is passive process. Definitely for normal expiration muscle contraction may not be required, but for the forced expiration definitely this internal intercostal muscles and abdominal muscle contraction must be required. So that only for that purpose energy is required. So that only forced expiration is active process, normal expiration is passive process. Definitely when we observe this normal inspiration, normal expirations, definitely normal expiration, normal inspiration, normal inspiration is active process, because for this purpose definitely phrenic muscle or diaphragmatic muscle and external intercostal muscles must be contracted. So that only that is active process. Again forced inspiration also active process, because for this purpose also definitely muscle contraction must be required. Again normal expiration is passive process, because for this purpose muscle contraction is not required. Simply diaphragmatic muscles as well as external intercostal muscles are gets relaxes. For relaxation definitely this energy is not required. So that only definitely that is passive process. But forced expiration is again active process, because for forced expiration internal intercostal muscle, abdominal muscles must be gets contracted. For forced expiration internal intercostal muscle, abdominal muscles must be contracted for forced expiration. So that only forced expiration is again active process. Very important in NEET objective point of view. Normal inspiration is active process, forced inspiration is active process, normal expiration is passive process, forced expiration is again active process. In normal inspiration and forced inspiration, what kind of the muscle contraction is taken place means external intercostal muscle, diaphragmatic muscles are gets contracted in these two processes. In normal expiration, definitely diaphragmatic muscles and external intercostal muscles are gets relaxes. In forced expiration, internal intercostal muscles and abdominal muscles are gets contracted. So due to the contraction of internal intercostal muscle and abdominal muscle, forced expiration is taken place. So that only that is said to be as the active process. This is the mechanism of inspiration and expiration. Next, lung volumes and lung capacities. Next one is the lung volume and lung capacities. Next one is the lung volumes and lung capacities. At first, what is the breathing rate of a person per minute means? What is the ventilation rate of a person per minute means? 12 to 16 times per minute is the breathing rate of the healthy person. Breathing rate of a healthy person is 12 to 16 times per minute, means in a minute 16 inspirations and 16 expirations are going on. So definitely during that, how much volume of the air is reaches into the lung, how much volume of the air is releases to the out, to if we estimate that, then that is said to be as the lung volume. Lung volumes principally useful for assessment of functional status of the lung of the person. Whether a person lung is with the proper in working, whether a person lung is with normal in functioning or not, to assess that, to effectively estimate that, definitely this kind of the lung volumes are a lot helpful to us. This lung volumes as well as the lung capacities are a lot helpful to us here. Again, this lung volumes can be measured by using a specific device. That device is said to be as the spirometer or respirometer. Lung volumes can be estimated by using a device. That device is said to be as the spirometer or the respirometer. Lung volumes means how much amount of the air may be reaches to the lung during the inspiration, how much amount of the air can be releases to the out during the expiration. If we can estimate that, that is said to be as the lung volume. Lung volumes can be estimated by using a device that is said to be as the spirometer or the respirometer. This lung volumes are not helpful to us to estimate functional status of the lung of the person, how that kind of the lungs are in working, whether any defect is there in working of the lung, to estimate that, to diagnose that. This kind of the estimation of the lung volumes is a lot useful to us here. Then what are the various type of the lung volumes which may be measured by using this spirometer means? First one is the tidal volume. First one is the tidal volume. This is simply represented as the TV. What is the tidal volume means? During the normal inspiration, without getting forceful, without getting forced mechanism, whenever the person is in resting, whenever person is in sleeping, during that, by the normal inspiration or normal expiration, how much amount of the air is reaches into the lung or how much amount of the air is releases to the out is said to be as the tidal volume. Whenever the person is in resting, that means whenever the person is in sleeping, by normal inspiration, how much amount of the air is reaches to the lung or how much amount of the air is releases from the lung to the out is said to be as the tidal volume. Here you should remember, forced mechanism is not applicable. Forced inspiration is not applicable. Forced expiration is not applicable. Whenever person is with normal breathing, whenever he is in resting, whenever he is in deep sleep, during that, how much volume of the air is reaches into the lung during the normal inspiration, how much amount of the air is releases to the out during the normal expiration is nothing but tidal volume. This tidal volume TB equal to 500 ml for breath. For breath or for single ventilation, during the resting, how much amount of the air is reaches into the lung means only 500 ml. At that rate, in 1 minute, how much volume of the air is reaches to the lung during the resting means for breath, if TB is 500 ml, then what is the TB for minute? What is TB value for minute? Means for minute, what is the breathing rate of the person? 12 to 16 times is the breathing rate per minute. Means in single minute, how many breathings are occurs in the person means 12 to 16. So per minute, if the TB, for breath, if the TB is 500 ml, for breath, if TB is 500 ml, then for minute, how much means? For minute, definitely how many number of the breathings are taken place means 12 to 16. So that only 12 to 16 into 500 ml, that equal to 6000 to 8000 ml. 6000 to 8000 ml is the TB value for minute. Tidal volume for minute is approximately 6000 to 8000 ml, because for breath, if TB is 500, then in 1 minute how many number of the breathings are taken place means 12 to 16. So that only tidal volume for minute is 6000 to 8000 ml. Next, second value is inspiratory reserve volume, that is the IRV. This is simply we can say forced inspiration. This is simply we can say forced inspiration means totally how much volume of the air can be reaches into the lung by the forced inspiration is nothing but inspiratory reserve volume. By the forced inspiration, maximally how much amount of the air is reaches into the lung for breath is said to be as the inspiratory reserve volume. This is simply we can say forced inspiration. Simply we can say that is the forced inspiration. Means by the forced inspiration, maximally how much volume of the air can be reaches into the lung is said to be as the forced inspiration. That is approximately 2500 to 3000 ml. IRV, that is the inspiratory reserve volume, that is the forced inspiration, is approximately 2500 to 3000 ml. is the forced inspiration. Next one is the expiratory reserve volume, that is the ERV. Next one is the expiratory reserve volume. Expiratory reserve volume, that is the ERV. This is also called as the forced expiration. This is the forced expiration. This is nothing but forced expiration. Means during the forced expiration maximally, how much amount of the air can be released to the out from the lung is said to be as the expiratory reserve volume, that is the forced expiration. By the forced expiration, totally how much volume of the air can be sent out is said to be as the expiratory reserve volume, that is the forced expiration. That ERV is equal to 1000 to 1100 ml. ERV value is approximately 1000 to 1100 ml. Again, next to residual volume, that is the RV. Residual volume, that is the RV. So total volume of air which can be resides inside of the lung even after forced expiration. Total volume of the air which is resides inside of the lung even after forced expiration also is said to be as the residual volume. Means after the forceful expiration, how much volume of the air can be always retains in the lung netly, which is useful to prevent the collapse of lung, which is useful to prevent the collapsing of lung always, is said to be as the residual volume. That RV is equal to 1100 to 1200 ml. Definitely, residual volume is present inside of the lung even after the death of the person. Very important in objective. Very important in objective. Residual volume is retains in the lung even after the death of the person. Residual volume is not able to measure with the help of the spirometer. This residual volume is not able to measure with the help of the spirometer. This is resides in lung even after the death of the person also. This is useful for the preventing of the collapsing of lung. This is always resides inside of the lung netly has 1100 to 1200 ml. Definitely RV, it is present even after death of the person. It cannot measure. It cannot measured by spirometer. It prevents collapse of lungs. So definitely residual volume nothing but total volume of the air which is resides inside of the lung after forced expiration is said to be as the residual volume, that is about 1100 to 1200 ml. It is present even after the death of the person also. Even after death of the person also it is resides inside of the lung. It cannot be measured by this pyrometer. It prevents the collapse of the lung. So these are the lung volumes. One is the tidal volume, that is the TV, that value is approximately 500 ml per breath. Per minute that is approximately 6000 to 8000 ml. Inspirate reserve volume, that is IRV equal to 2500 to 3000 ml. Expirate reserve volume, that is ERV, nothing but forced expiration, that is approximately 1000 to 1100 ml. Residual volume, that is RV, that is equal to 1100 to 1200 ml. These are the lung volumes. Close it, sir. Sir. These are the lung volumes.